Hi everyone and welcome to another AFTV Live. I am here in the salubrious surroundings of the AFTV studios here in North London, and I'm joined by none other than Mr. AFTV himself, aka my younger brother. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big digital round of applause for Robbie Lyle in the house. What are you saying, bro?
Salubrious.
Salubrious.
You're going in big talk there, man. I'm salubrious.
You know, posh.
I know about posh.
Palatial.
Palatial. Hey, by the way,
Looks good.
Yeah, big up A-Man and some of the students who came down today and were taking a look around the studio, man. It's really nice to meet you guys, man, and to talk to you guys. So big up to you guys. But yes, we're here with a live at 5 and bro, you know what I mean? Yeah, looking forward to I can't wait, Laurie, right, for the game on Friday.
Yeah,
you know
man.
what? Normally a game like Southampton, no disrespect to them, but you'd be sort of thinking to yourself, oh, who we got this week? Oh, Southampton, yeah. But I'm absolutely can't wait for that game. I'm so buzzing for it, right?
Yeah.
And, you know,
Tell
I'm
me
so
if it's for
glad
the same
been,
reasons as me, apart from the obvious.
Well, it's the reason being, it's the obvious reason. It's just, I just don't want to. I just want to get back to playing, and it's a chance for us to win the game. And I just want to get back to playing after the disappointments of the last 2 games.
Yeah, I was going to add as a supplementary to that the reason why. And listen, I don't want to come across as being disrespectful for Southampton, but listen, we are favourites to win the game. I'm hoping we win the game, and one of the reasons why I'm really hoping we win the game is that to get some of that vibe back, man. Because I couldn't help but feeling that there's a lot of doom and gloom around last week.
Oh gosh,
You know what I mean?
and I think some of the doom and gloom has been too over the top.
Yeah,
I really do. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong, you know, being at those games and witnessing us throw away those 2-goal leads, especially the West Ham one. You know, the Liverpool one, it's Liverpool, it's Anfield, you get it, you understand it. Tough place to go to. It was kind of like, this would have been a glorious win, but it can happen at Liverpool. The one at West Ham was very disappointing because we were so in control of the game. We were playing so well and looking so good, and then to sort of just throw it away like that was really, really disappointing. But we didn't lose the game. We're not out of the title race.
and we didn't bottle it.
We didn't bottle it. We're under pressure, right? Because now Man City, of course, can smell blood. But when you're going for titles, it's not easy.
That's right, man.
And you're going to have these moments.
Absolutely.
You're going to have these moments where you have a wobble and the other team comes back at you, and it's your job now to get back on track. And we can do that by beating Southampton this weekend. And then we look forward to the Man City game.
Absolutely.
So people, like, even last night, I was at my son's football training, and there's a couple of guys say, oh, it's done. What do you mean it's done? We're 4 points clear with 7 games to go. It's not done.
I was saying to you off air that it's a good job some of these fans are not players, because there's some of the same fans that are saying that we're bottling it. They're pretty much giving up on the title. That is the very definition of bottling, isn't it? Surely. And I also think that bottling it is perhaps the most overused word in the football lexicon. I mean, just because you don't beat a team that you're expected to beat these days, people say you're bottling it. It's nothing to do with that.
Yeah, as I said, right, what to me when I was on DR Sports on Monday, and they're all coming at me on the weekend roundup.
I saw some of that. Yeah.
All the your United fans, Chelsea fans on the panel, but I was saying to them, because I refuse to use the word bottle, because we haven't bottled it. If we've lose like all our games from now till the end of the season, yeah, you can throw that at us, right? Possibly if we lose to Southampton, you can possibly then turn around and say, look, Arsenal's starting to bottle this title, right? But we haven't bottled nothing yet, right?
I would say that there's the pressure is on.
Yeah, the pressure's on,
and that can affect performance.
And we're going to have to respond to that on Friday, and it can affect confidence. Of course, it can affect confidence, but I think if you're going to be champions, and people always talking about this word, champions mentality. A champions mentality is not just when it's all great, you know, when you're
in the
points ahead and you're in the ascendancy, right? A champion's mentality is when things are a bit tough,
and you have to dig
and you're
down
in the trenches, and you've got to dig deep now and say, you know what, boys, to win this title, We're going to beat Southampton, and then we need to go to Manchester City next week. We've got to get something.
Yeah.
That is champions mentality. That is you fight back. You know what I mean? You see, I know you love your boxing, and you see it a lot of times in boxing where a fighter looks done.
Sometimes they hit the ground.
Hit the ground, knocked down.
And they're all over the place.
You're knocked down, and you got to get up.
Yeah, look at Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury, when he won the title, and he got off the canvas.
Yeah. Actually, he didn't win the title. That was when he
had the draw. Yeah, he got off the canvas to win that, and we see that in a lot of fights. So and we ain't even on the canvas yet. You know what I mean? So this word, like you said, I don't like it.
It's the most overused word in the football lexicon.
Yeah, I don't like it.
But anyway, we don't want to digress too much. We've got things to talk about today, and what I wanted to talk to you about today is a story that's been doing the rounds in the last 24 to 48 hours. You probably have seen it. Rio Ferdinand done a recent podcast.
My mate Rio Ferdinand.
Yeah.
By the way, he's been having a go at me today.
Yeah, I see that, man. Man's just been having a little pop.
Rio Ferdinand's been having a pop at me today. Big up Rio, man. Big up Rio.
So tell him,
man.
what was that about then?
No, just because again, he's another one who's one that keeps going on about we're bottling it.
Oh, I see.
So I've been going back at him and saying we're not bottling it, and basically saying to him, well, did United bottle it last week when they dropped a 2-goal lead? Because I never heard him use the word Man United bottled it after they were 2-0 up at home, cruising against Sevilla, and then the game ended up 2-2. I did not hear him one time use the word Manchester United have bottled it, but yet still, we bottled it. So, but he said to me, he tweeted out, he says, why is Robbie concentrating on me, man? Worry about Arsenal. Well, I am worried about Arsenal. But I was just asking the question. Why?
So he's worried about Arsenal as well, though.
Him and all of them are all worried about us because there's a lot of them that can't believe that Arsenal are in the position we are and they can't take it if Arsenal win
Plus,
the title.
let's be honest, there's a certain narrative about Arsenal in terms of bottling it and throwing things away.
Yeah, and I get it from last year.
It would appear that some of them, man, can't wait because they've been waiting for this moment for a long time.
They've been waiting all season for this script.
It's not happened yet. Now they think it might be about to happen, so they're all...
Could I say something, yeah?
Of course.
From the first game of the season, Crystal Palace away on a Friday night. Remember it?
I remember that. Yeah.
They all thought we were going to bottle it then. From the very first game. That was our first test, we were given Palace. We've gone through the season before and got battered down, right? That was the first game. And they all from that, we passed that test and we've been passing them ever since. And from that day, they've been waiting for us to fall. Yeah. And that's another, I'd love it if we do it. As Keegan said that time.
Okay, then, right. So I was chatting about Rio Ferdinand. So he's got a podcast, 5, I think it's called, something like that.
Yeah, good
So
podcast.
on the podcast, they were talking about Mikel Arteta. And to be fair, they were giving him his praise. They were waxing lyrical, saying what a good job he's done, blah, blah, blah. But Rio mentioned in that podcast, and it's been picked up by some of the national newspapers, he said that he heard a rumour, right? He heard a rumour that Mikel Arteta would be interested in taking over at Real Madrid should Carlo Ancelotti leave Real Madrid this summer. Now, since he said that now, you can imagine a comment like that has been picked up by the national newspapers and the YouTube channel, social media, and everyone's talking about it. So I thought I would ask you your thoughts on that. I mean, initially I thought to myself, is it a truthful thing or is he being mischievous? Or could he be telling the truth? Or could he be telling the truth and still being mischievous? So do you think there's any truth to the rumour? And if so, I was going to go on to ask in the end, do you think he would go? And if he did go, what would happen?
I don't think he'd go. I was just looking at this comment here from Alexander Carlson who says Arteta won't go to Real Madrid because he's a Barcelona fan. So that's one big reason, because that is true. He came through the system at Barcelona.
Is he a Barcelona fan? I know he played for them.
He's a Barcelona guy. He's from that region.
It's a Basque region,
but and he's a Barcelona guy through and through. So I don't think he'd want to go to Real Madrid. That's not to say that people haven't crossed that divide before.
He's not Catalan though. He's a Basque.
I'm not sure.
He's from San Sebastian, which is Basque country.
Yeah, but he's not a Real Madrid guy.
No.
Right.
So do you have to be though?
You don't have to be, but it is like crossing the divide. He was at Barcelona, right? So I'd say I don't think he'd go to Real Madrid, but you can never say never with any manager, can you? It is the biggest job possibly in world football. When you see all the things they've won, you saw them last night. They've got a great side. You know, that'd be appealing to any manager. And I think for any manager nowadays, when a big opportunity comes around, you know, you can't really sometimes, you can't really sometimes not take it. But what I would say in the case of Mikel Arteta is that he's at a club that he absolutely loves. You can see that. We can all see that. From the day he's coming through the door, there's nobody who can doubt the love that he's had for the club. I think the amount of work that he's put into building this project and building this side, you know, I just don't think he would leave. You know what I mean? There's too much unfinished business for him. You know what I mean? And remember, us challenging for the league this season, he's admitted it himself, and the guys around the club have said it, have been, you know, ahead of schedule. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't think he was expecting to be in this position yet, and we're in this position. He'll want to be testing himself in the Champions League. And I think he loves Arsenal Football Club. He's got everything he needs here. He's got owners that back him. Remember, last season, you know, there were a lot of fans that wanted him out. There were a lot of people that thought he'd go. Even at one time, I thought to myself, he could go. You know what I mean? Because, you know, with some of the games we lost. And they stuck with him, you know what I mean?
Well, hold it right there. So let's look at his record. So he took over, as we know, in December 2019, after Unai Emery had departed the club, and we've seen what Unai Emery's done since. Since then, I think it's something like 179 games in all competitions. He's won 105 games. He's got a win rate of 58.66, which is very good, actually.
That's brilliant.
We know he won the FA Cup in 2020 and the Charity Shield. He's had 2 8th place finishes in the league and then a 5th place. So you're right, coming into this season, there were a few question marks. Even though he'd won the FA Cup, there were a few question marks. Brought on, I think, by the fact, let's be honest, the end of last season was disappointing.
Yep.
We did fall away. Some might say bottle it. When it looked, for all intents and purposes, that we were going to get that 4th place, and we didn't. We had those poor run of form against Newcastle and Tottenham, or even Tottenham and Newcastle. I don't know which way around it was now. But anyway, we missed out. And there was a few people asking questions, and I'm going to put my hands up and say that I was one of them. Not to say that I wanted him sacked. I've never said that. But I was one of those that had my reservations.
There were big doubts, yeah.
But to see the way he's turned it around this year has been, I've got to give it to him, man. It's been amazing.
And he's built something, hasn't he? You know what I mean? You start to look at the things he's done. You know what I mean? I was thinking about it. I was looking at Chelsea, right? Last night when I was watching their game, and I'm like, you've seen the difference between Mikel Arteta and how Arsenal are operating at the moment, and Chelsea. Chelsea basically, new owner comes in, says to himself, boy, Roman Abramovich has been successful in the past. I'm just going to throw loads and loads of money at it and we'll be successsul. They haven't built nothing. It's built on sand, and that's why it's all fallen over.
As we say in Jamaica, buy out the bar.
Buy out the bar.
Ransom, I got buy out the bar.
Well, he's certainly done that, right? But then you look at Mikel Arteta, and his foundations have been built solidly. Like you said, came in first season, won the FA Cup. And then there's just been building a team. And then even when you look at some of the signings, I remember when he signed Aaron Ramsdale, I was thinking to myself, why are we getting Ramsdale? Do we need Ramsdale? You know, I mean, we've got Leno, he's doing all right. Shouldn't we use that money elsewhere? But he brought him in for a reason, because he wanted to play in a particular way. And Aaron Ramsdale offered that distribution, playing out from the back. And that's what he needed. So everything he's sort of done has been to a plan. Even some of the controversial things he did, like getting rid of Aubameyang and stuff like that, wasn't because Aubameyang's a poor player. Wasn't because Lacazette's a poor player. It's because they don't suit the system in which he wants to play. Jesus does, right? So he's been very, very, clinical in the way he's done things. He's been very, very, he's had a great plan of how he's building things, and he's building, and that's
you can
why
see there's a real football brain.
Yeah, the real football brain, and that's why sometimes, even when people are saying things like, you know, would he move on? I think he'll stay because the project is still in motion.
The process,
right? And also, he loves the football club. You heard Pep Guardiola talking about how, you know, he loves the club and how he never used to really celebrate against Arsenal and stuff like that. And we've seen that video and that.
Well, I mean, he played for the club. He was a very distinguished player. He captained the club.
Yeah, you know, so I don't think, you know, why would he want to go to Real Madrid at this time? And I know people might say, well, don't be the obvious reasons. They're going to win everything, but Real Madrid, you don't get that security with, do you? You know.
Well, let me throw you a curveball on that, because in the research for this show, I did come across something that kind of made my eyes lift a little bit, my ears prick up. Now, it's been said, and you may have some views on this, or you may know more about this than I do, that contract negotiations to extend this contract have been stalled because Arsenal are focusing, or they want to focus all their energies on winning the league. Now, if that is the case, obviously it could be for a good reason, but could Mikel Arteta look at that and say, well, actually, they're not exactly showing faith in me, are they?
I don't think you could ever do that, because the thing is, they've shown so much faith. Remember last year when they extended his contract? Remember the outcry from some fans? Yeah. Why didn't you wait till the end of the season? Why have they extended that now? Oh, it's a disgusting.
So why haven't they repeated that then?
No, but I think probably because they're working with him now and they understand. I don't think there's a problem there at all.
I'm not suggesting that there's a problem, but I'm saying that the mere fact that they haven't done that might open the door.
No, but I think it's a good. I think the reason that they've given
other clubs to.
Yeah, but I think the reason they've given us a good reason is because they're concentrating on trying to get this league sorted and trying to see if they can win the league. So
no, I hope you're right. I
really listen. I know you can say you can't say for sure on these things, but I'd say that I feel 95% certain that Mikel Arteta will not join Real Madrid and will be staying at Arsenal. You know what I mean? Because he's got unfinished business there. He's building something that he's not even finished building yet. He's not even finished building yet.
What if he was to win the title? He may think, you know what? Then this is as good as it gets.
I don't think so. I think if he won the title, he might be thinking, well, we could do it again. And I think if he won
thinking I could win the Champions League with Arsenal.
True, and he might think let's go on a Champions League run. And I know Real Madrid, as I said, is it's the ultimate job in football, but you don't get that time at Real Madrid. You don't get that. I mean, trust the process thing doesn't really exist at those clubs, does it?
I'm freely admit that I'm playing a bit of devil's advocate here, but as a manager, to have Arsenal and then Real Madrid on your CV, I mean, that's a top-notch CV, regardless of what happens at that.
And there's been talk, before that, there was talk about Barcelona being interested in him as well, and other top teams as well, and I'm sure. In the future, there will be lots of clubs that will be interested in Mikel Arteta because they've seen what he's done. He's been brilliant. You know what I mean?
I'm just going to ask you to hold your fire today. Sorry, Robbie. I've got a super chat here from Paolo Carrias. Hope I haven't butchered that name, by the way. It's to do with the bottling thing. He said, if we don't win the league, that is bottling it, especially being first place all year. I'll be more upset about not winning it and then how it's phrased. What do you got to say to that?
Well, I repeat what I said right at the start of the show. It's not bottling it, right? If we completely capitulate from now till the end of the season, all right, you can use the word bottling it. But at this moment in time, it's not bottling it. And it all depends how we lose it, isn't it?
Yeah,
suppose we go down to the last game of the season and we get pipped by Manchester City, or the game before the last game. Is that bottling it? Of course it's not bottling it. Liverpool never bottled it last year. You know what I mean? You've just been beaten by the better side. You've been beaten. Let's remember, I said this the other day, remember what we're up against, right? Yeah. We're up against a team that's won the league 4 times out of the last 5 years. Yeah? We're up against a team that not only have they won it 4 out of the last 5 years in buying £100 million players like Grealish and that, they went out and strengthened and bought in the best striker currently in world football, plays for them, and has broken or is on the verge of breaking the all-time Premier League record right, for scoring goals, right, with still 7, 8, well, for them about 9 games left. And you're going to say if we pushed them all the way and we just missed out, we would have bottled it. We wouldn't have bottled it.
Yeah, exactly.
We wouldn't have bottled it. We would have missed out to an unbelievable team. So, you know, that's why I said...
A team who, by the way, are mauling other teams.
Yeah,
even
exactly.
teams like Bayern.
Exactly. You know,
I watched them play Bayern the other day and wow.
Exactly. They took Bayern apart 3-0. You know what I mean? So to use the word bottling, I think, you know, is completely inappropriate when you're describing... what's been happening here.
And by contrast, I've got another super chat here by Thanos City. He says, deep down, you all know we win in the Prem, which is one that I prefer.
Well, do you know what I mean? You can say that now, Thanos. Right, Thanos. I like the name Thanos. Right. You can say that right now, right? But you don't know. Let's wait until the end of the season. I mean, everybody at the moment saying that City are going to win the treble, but how do we know? We've heard this a lot in seasons gone by. You know what I mean? Most people said that City would win the Champions League last season. They didn't.
They did not.
Most people said that they'd win the Champions League the season before. They didn't. You know what I mean? So hold your horses, right? You know what I mean? Let's just wait and see. There's still games to be played. There's some other super chats here. Entry Elite says he won't go. He's on about Mikel Arteta, especially with all the social media beef going on between Real Madrid and Barcelona. Plus, we're only just getting started, and I agree with you on that. And Thanos City again comes back and says, from fifth to win our title, that's embarrassing. What does he mean by that?
That's a bit cryptic, that one. I don't know.
That's very... What is he saying? From fifth to winning... we were fifth last year, and now we're competing for... How's that embarrassing? I don't know. Explain yourself.
Slightly cryptic. You might need to send in another super chat to explain it.
Yeah, Hart Patel says, Arteta is a Barcelona guy. He's not going to Real Madrid. And I think that would be... That does come into
when people say he's a Barcelona guy, he's not strictly, is he? As I said,
well, he came through Barcelona.
Yeah, but he's born in San Sebastian, right? Which is, as I said, it's Basque country. Now, the nearest club to San Sebastian is Real Sociedad.
Yeah, but Barca don't really like Real Madrid either, innit? They're kind of anti-Spain a little bit. But I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying that he has been, you know, he's more of sort of a Barcelona guy.
I can see that connection.
Yeah, and so that I'd say he'd rather go Barcelona than go to Real Madrid.
It would appear so, yeah. But you've also got to take into account that it's a Real Madrid job on the line. And as we said, we referenced it earlier, football is a ruthless industry which, what's that common term that we always hearing? You're only 3 or 4 games away, 3 straight losses away from the sack.
True, but he had 3 straight losses last year and he didn't get the sack. And that's what I'm saying, because the owners and Edu and all those guys believed in him. Remember, we watched the documentary and they were like, "Oh, we're still behind you. We're still." Not many managers get that backing that he got.
That's true.
You know, there'll be owners saying you're going to get the backing, like Todd Bowley did to Graham Potter, and he still sacked him. So not many owners get that backing, right? Especially when you're at a club like the size of Arsenal. They've given him that backing. He's obviously, you can see that him and Edu are in control of transfers. He's the main man at the club. That's obvious now. They backed him when it came to the Aubameyang thing. You know what I mean? He's in a very good position at Arsenal. Why would you want to leave, really? Real Madrid is a sort of club that if you go there, you lose a couple of games, your job's on the line. They just sack you like that. You know what Real Madrid are like, you know?
But dare I say it, it's probably not just Real Madrid that are looking at him. I mean, look what he's done this season. I think he's got something like 4 Premier League Manager of the Months this season. Everyone's talking about him. He's the flavour of the month. I'm pretty sure he's been discussed in boardrooms across Europe.
I'm sure he is, right? Because, and you know, Real Madrid, it's obvious why they're talking about him, because he's doing such a fantastic job.
And listen, I'm going to say this now, yeah? And I'll be interested to hear what you think. But I would imagine that there's not a manager in the whole of Europe, or maybe even the world, that if Real Madrid come knocking, you're not just going to dismiss that out of hand, are you? You are going to maybe talk to your agent and say, are they serious?
Well, your agent might talk to you, but as I said, he's in a fantastic...
Arteta's probably going to say to his agent, is this serious or is this just hearsay?
Yeah, as I said, right, I don't know. I just feel that, you know, I don't think he'll go Real Madrid. And also, as I said, you know, he's got unfinished business at Arsenal. I don't see him. I'm not even worried about this rumour. I'm not even worried in the slightest, right?
How do you think the rumour come about then?
This was asked Rio Ferdinand. Listen, he's got the intel on it, innit? According to Rio.
Maybe he's being a bit mischievous, but I can't imagine that Rio would just invent this in his own head.
Well, listen.
You know what the football industry is like.
It could be true. It could be that they're interested in him. It could be. I got a question.
And can I just say as well that I'll let you come in a minute. Real Madrid and they've done this with countless players over the years. They're very good at unsettling players. They know how to drop little rumours and hearsays, and you know what I mean. And next thing you know, players, managers, whoever's unsettled, and the story becomes more real.
Yeah, but this is different, man. He's at a big club, Mikel. He's not at Tottenham. You know what I mean? He's at Arsenal Football Club, right? He's doing a great job. He's top of the league at the moment. Champions League football to look forward to next year. More budget to go out there and get players. Plus, as well, I heard that Ancelotti's saying that he wants to stay on.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, there's a lot
is
linking him with Brazil jobs and things.
Yeah,
but he apparently he wants to stay.
He does want to stay.
You know?
And apparently what I've picked up is that if Real Madrid go on and win the Champions League, which, let's face it, is a real possibility, that they probably allow him to stay. But if they don't, then they might look further afield.
Do you know the other thing as well, right? Managing right now in the Premier League is better than managing in La Liga, right? In my opinion, right? Listen, obviously, as I said, the pedigree of Real Madrid can never be doubted. They've won more things than any other club in the history of football, right? And they are rightly the #1 club in the world. But in their league, it's them and Barcelona, and it's just two teams. I know you could say that for us this season, but there's a lot of powerhouses in the Premier League, right? The Premier League, week in, week out, it's a battle, right? I think Arteta enjoys managing in the.
Of course, he does,
this is.
But he is Spanish.
All eyes are on the Premier. Yeah, he is Spanish, but all eyes are on the Premier League, week in, week out. He's Spanish, but he's lived there for a very long time now.
Yes, yeah.
You know, I'm not even worried.
You're not worried. You don't sound worried.
No. Let me give you. There's a few more super. Actually, whilst I'm doing this, a couple of these super chats, I'm going to ask you. Yeah.
Yeah.
If he did leave, I'm going to give you a hypothetical now. Who would you want to take over? Right.
And
so
people out there, don't worry. I'm not going to say Mourinho.
Well, you've said those things.
I said that before. Yeah.
Right. Hart Patel. So think about that while I'm doing these super chats. Miles Smith says Arsenal being top in April is against the status quo. People saying that if we bottle it, it makes me confident that we can win it. A lot of it is they are worried, mate. You are right. Addy Daz says win Friday and we will be confident for the City game. Name says the 24th of May, Amex Stadium, Arsenal win the Premier League. Be there.
Yep, sounds good to me.
Is that when City are playing? Because we're not playing at the Amex no more, are we?
We got Brighton at home.
We got them at home. Yeah. Ricky Proctor says Arteta is a long-term project guy. Madrid sack managers every season. It's not fit. Pep said Arsenal is Arteta's club. Remember, he did say that.
Yeah, he did.
Jasmeet says, no way Real Madrid get MA, Olympiacos, Villarreal, Sporting. And Hart Patel says, did you see Manchester City versus Bayern? They're coming for you. Yeah, no, I did see Manchester City versus Bayern, and they were very, very impressive.
Yeah, they were.
But did you see a lot of our games this season? And it says, bring Don Carlo to the carpet, says Abby. So it sounded like he'd have Carlo Ancelotti come the other way. If Arteta did go to Real Madrid, which he ain't going nowhere, but we're just playing some hypotheticals now, who would you want to replace him?
Pep.
Pep,
that doesn't sound very feasible.
Yeah.
What about Klopp,
realistic?
Because there's talk that Klopp might become a bit disillusioned. Would he leave?
No, keep it realistic. I don't think he would. Keep it realistic.
You know what? I'm struggling a little bit on that one. Nagelsmann looks good, but you know,
really that great at Bayern, did he? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and plus he had that.
Nagelsmann,
the fallout from that,
with
him and his
I don't know, man. I used to rate Nagelsmann, but I don't know that he stepped up into that really big job, and I'm not too sure, man.
Those are the managers that jump out of the page. But you know what it is like though with managers. Sometimes you just don't know, because as we referenced earlier with Mikel Arteta, no one really expected him to be this much of a success so soon. So sometimes, you know, you got to go with your instincts.
So I was going to suggest one, right? And there's a load of people in the chat. Hugh, Malachi, Adiaz, they've all said it. Brett the Gooner, he says it. Shadrach says it as well. Michael 23 says Frank Lampard. It definitely hated him, right? But all of these guys are saying De Zerbi of Brighton.
Oh right, yeah.
And I do like him, man. I do like him. Yeah. I love that bus up he had the other day with the Tottenham manager. But I do like him. He plays very good football, man. And
he's got a very good reputation as well.
He has, and what he's done with Brighton, he's been brilliant.
Looks like he could match Arteta for the touchline history on it as well.
But I like him.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah, I'm surprised a few more people didn't say Eddie Howe. A lot of people have been singing his praises.
Yeah, but I don't think you get Eddie Howe away from Newcastle at the moment. Unlimited budget and that. But somebody who would be gettable would be a De Zerbi, and I do like De Zerbi. I do like him.
That is a good shout. Actually.
Yeah, I mean Ricky Proctor says if Arteta leaves, then get Ancelotti or De Zerbi. I do like. Apart from that.
And listen, we want to make it clear, we're not trying to get rid of Arteta.
I'm happy.
This is a very hypothetical.
I'm very happy with Mikel Arteta, especially, you know, when I think, you know, the way he's brought the fans and the club together. He's done a remarkable job. He really has. Yes. He really has.
But what do you make, though, of what I was saying earlier? Surely that's true, that it can't be just Real Madrid.
No, there'll be other clubs
looking at Arteta.
There'll be other clubs looking at Arteta.
So what I'm saying to you is, do you think there's any suggestion that he could be tempted away this summer? Because like I said, that contract's not yet been tied down.
No, he's not going nowhere. I think he ain't going. I'd be shocked. If he. I just can't see it. He's doing such a great job. He's got everything he needs.
He looks like quite a loyal and a guy that's, what's the word I'm looking for? Quite a sincere person.
Yeah, he looks like a loyal guy as well.
He doesn't look like the kind of guy.
And he would remember the loyalty that the owners showed towards him when it weren't going very well.
But again, you know? I say again, the fact that no contract has been extended, he wouldn't actually be breaking the terms of any.
Well, no, but they extended his contract last year. Okay. And gave him a new deal, longer deal, more money, and that was even when coming off of the back of a few losses, you know what I mean? Yeah. So they got a lot of faith in him, man.
Or you could look at it like Mikel Arteta seems to me like a very ambitious person.
Yeah. Do you know
the kind of guy that likes challenges? So if he was to win the title with Arsenal, which I personally think he will, he might look at it and say, you know what, as much as I love Arsenal, I love the project, and we've won the title now, I've delivered, over-delivered, I've got this wonderful opportunity to go to a club like Madrid, you know, I mean, steeped in winning trophies, steeped in tradition. This opportunity may never come again. Maybe I should strike while
going nowhere. This one here from Sam, he says Graham Potter is the perfect replacement for Arteta. You see, that's the thing, right? Now, there you go as an example that when sometimes you go to a place and end up kind of ruining your rep.
But you know what? Most managers don't. Their mentality is not like that, is it?
I know, but Graham Potter had such a great reputation before he went to Chelsea, and now would you take Potter at Arsenal if they was a vacant? I wouldn't, because it looks to me where he's kind of ruined his rep is that, and I think he'll get other jobs. But will he get them big jobs again? Because they're all going to be looking at him thinking, yeah, when it comes to the big thing, you're not the guy. You know, you can't handle that big.
But don't forget, people were saying that about Arteta after his first couple of years.
There's a lot of people there suggesting Emery. You know, Emery's doing a great job.
Yeah, well, taking him back.
There's quite a few people there. Yeah, G180, 86, Emery back, right? But you know
what about this one? What about this one? This is a super chat from Miles Smith. He says, if Arteta left, I'd like Vincent Kompany, another young manager who has come under Pep's tutorage.
Yep, he's done very, very well, but that's in the Championship. Let's see how he gets on.
No, but Mikel Arteta, he didn't have any manager.
I know, and I'm not discounting it, but I'm just saying, I think because I've seen him linked with Tottenham and these. I think Vincent Kompany going to the Premier League with Burnley, and I really don't think he should leave Burnley yet. That's what I mean. Don't leave places too early.
You say that though, but put yourself in Vincent Kompany's shoes, right? And this is purely hypothetical. We're having some fun with these people. I don't want you to start flooding the comments and say I'm trying to get rid of Arteta. Say you're Vincent Kompany, right? And obviously you've got promotion with Burnley. They're about to win the championship. And push comes to shove and you get that call saying, there's a possibility that the Arsenal job. Do you really think he's going to stay at Burnley?
No, he'd go to but he wouldn't go to Tottenham, would he? Surely.
Yeah.
But if I was Vincent Kompany, you're coming into the Premier League with Burnley, you probably want to do something with Burnley first.
You would
show them a bit of faith.
But then, if the opportunity came to manage Arsenal, to me, it'd be remiss of you not to take it.
Yeah, that is true.
And that's how many people are looking at the Mikel Arteta situation with Real Madrid. They'd be saying, "Listen, as well as you've done with Arsenal, Real Madrid.
I think it's a bit different.
One of the top clubs in the world.
Yeah, but I think it's a bit different. You're jumping from Burnley, with all due respect, a very small club, to a massive club. I think, you're jumping from Arsenal to Real Madrid. Obviously their history and everything, and they're a bigger club than Arsenal, but you're still at a big club. And at that big club of Arsenal, you've got the reins. You know what I mean? You've got control of everything. And by the way, should we also be giving a big shout out to, and I know a lot of people don't like to do that, but to like the owners for keeping faith in Mikel Arteta after two, poor finishes in the league, right? And when they were under pressure last year, they kept the faith of him. Not only keeping the faith of him, should we also be bigging him up for getting him in the first place? Yeah. Because when we got Mikel Arteta, let's be real, if you did a poll, the majority of fans were very underwhelmed by the signing of Mikel Arteta.
Go ahead. Sorry, go on.
I mean, when we got him, the only positive I sort of put on it was I like to see, I always say this, I like to see young, hungry managers coming into the game. So let's give it a try. But it was definitely, they took a big
it come from left field.
Gamble, didn't it? It's a big bet, isn't it? Yeah. To bring in somebody like Mikel Arteta. And again, that is we criticise these owners a lot, but that was the owners that did that.
I mean, listen, I always tell the anecdote, myself and Curtis, shout out to Curtis Shaw, if you're watching, on the Talk is Cheap show, prior to Mikel Arteta taking over, we did a poll when Arsenal was still deliberating over their next manager. And Mikel Arteta was one of 6 people in that poll. There was Mourinho, who was in there, there was a few. Conte, a few people. Even Nuno. I think there were 6 managers. The guy from, what's the guy's name? The Italian guy.
From Juventus?
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
His name escapes me.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was in there. There was a few. 6 people, 6 managers, and we did a poll. And the poll was quite well received. There's a number of people who sent their votes in. Do you know who finished bottom of that poll? Mikel Arteta.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show.
And that's what I'm saying. We don't give the owners enough credit and the Edu and those guys for going out and getting him. You know what I mean?
And not only that, you also have to give the owners credit for backing him in the transfer market.
Yeah. Left field appointment it was, man.
It was.
Terry Abbott with a super chat says, I'm going to say this now, and I don't care what anyone says. I'm going to be totally honest. Arteta is going nowhere, and we are going to win this title. Like that.
I think he's right on both counts. But as I've said before, this is football. Nothing shocks me in football anymore. It's a ruthless industry, and those within it know that. So sometimes they make those decisions accordingly.
Yep.
Got a super chat here from B Dizzle. He said, Mikel Arteta should stay and he could build a legacy, which is
100% true. Yeah. Elijah Reyes says, that bottle chat doesn't even warrant our attention. I'd be disappointed if we don't get the prize, but this has been an amazing season to be a Gooner. And he says, bun the haters, and I agree with that. I agree with you 100%, Elijah. The high score says, when City are found guilty, we'll raid the Etihad. There is still that on City. All the City. You notice how all the City fans, right? The other day, these City fans are like prodding me and sending me all these things, and I'm thinking, I hope if this court case thing. Let's see how you lot
Mind you, I think Pep said something like he's going to stay because he believes they did nothing wrong.
Well, that's what he believes at the moment. Ricky Proctor says if he leaves for Real Madrid. We use our French connections and get Zidane for the big trophies. It's the only CV that's stronger than Pep's CV. Trophies to years ratio.
I guess one of the obvious things where a guy like Zidane may trump a guy like Arteta is, I would imagine Zidane's phone book and his connections are pretty considerable. And he can literally sit players down and convince them to come to the club in a way that I don't think Arteta could.
When you look at Mikel Arteta this season, do you say to yourself, I can see a guy that's going to be even better next year?
Oh, yeah, for real, yeah.
Because
like I said, I'm going to hold my hands up and say, I didn't see this coming this year. I honestly thought the extent of our ambitions would be Champions League football. So for me, and again, we're going to go back to this so-called bottling argument, even if we miss out on the title, I won't be too despondent. Because like I said, at the start of the season, I was just hoping to see Champions League football. That's pretty much achieved already. We got a real chance of winning the title. I do think we'll win it. But as I said, if we don't quite get it over the line, hey man, I'm not going to start crying.
Yeah, I think Mikel Arteta, I look at him and I look at a manager and I say, he'll get better. He'll get better. I'm really looking forward to seeing him testing himself in the Champions League next season. That's what I'm saying. I'm excited about Arteta and I'm excited about Arsenal, right? Because and I have to say it, right? Because even me, I was one of the doubters of Arteta. He's got my complete excitement back for this football club. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because as I said at the start of the show, I can't wait for the Southampton game. A lot of that's because of Arteta, what he's done this season. You know what I mean? He's made every Arsenal fan proud of the team again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just done everything so brilliantly this season. And just when I just look at overall the things he's done, the way he's brought through young players makes me proud. How many other clubs have brought through as many outstanding young players as we got? And the way he's handled it. Look at the way he's handled somebody like Martinelli.
Saka.
You know?
The list goes on, man.
You know, the way he's, as I said, forged that connection between the fans and the club again. You know?
Listen, everything you said there is right, but there's just that little bit at the back of my mind that thinks to myself...
And he ain't going no Real Madrid.
No, hold on. That suggests to me that there may be some truth in it. Because, I mean, Rio, he has been mischievous, but that's not to say that he's lying.
The other thing is as well, Mikel Arteta is a young guy. He's got his whole years ahead of him to go and make those moves.
Yeah, but we all know that in life it doesn't work like that, innit? I mean, I know you're not in that environment, but say you were in your previous job, a surveyor, yeah? And you get tapped up to work for some big company, a bigger company than what you were. Even though you would have been really happy at your previous job and doing well and loving it, loving the environment, loving the people you work with, you're not going to tell me that you wouldn't at least entertain the thoughts.
Yeah, you might look at it, but if you're in charge at that company...
And as far as I'm concerned, once you start entertaining the thought, you can be swayed.
Yeah, but as I said, Mikel Arteta, the position he's in a fantastic position. He's got the full backing of the owners, not just by talk, but by reality. And they've shown that, and they've proved that. He's got the backing of the fans. He's got the backing of his players. And he's got probably the most exciting project at this moment in time in world football. He's got a huge club that is on the up, that is on its way back. And that is why, you know, why would you want to leave? Playing in the best league in the world, going to be back in the Champions League, going to have a good budget to buy players, being backed by the owners when it comes to buying players. Why would you want to leave? I know Real Madrid, obviously, you know, great team, great players, Benzema, etc., won multiple serial winners. But the excitement of the Premier League, you know, pipping yourself week in, week out against Pep Guardiola and Klopp and all these managers. Nah, there's no reason to leave, man. You know what I mean? There's no reason to leave.
Or you might say...
And he'll get a new deal and he'll get more money.
The biggest club in the world, some people say. Champions League every year. Let's face it,
and then you're going to go there and you're going to go against your sort of roots because you came out of Barcelona and I just, I'm not, as I said, not even worried in the slightest. There's another super chat here from Miles Smith. He says if Arteta leaves, sole players might leave as well.
I should say some players.
Some players might leave as well, I think he meant to say. Saka still hasn't signed, he will. Saliba still hasn't signed, that's true. And this could really harm if this happens, but it won't. And I agree.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I hope you're right. I tend to think that it doesn't, but you just, football is such a murky playground, man, that you just don't know what's going on. And like I said, Rio's been a little mischievous here. I'm pretty sure that Mikel Arteta won't be thanking Rio for doing what he's doing right now. But I just get the impression that
will care.
Yeah, he'll profess he don't care, but he's probably a little pissed off, isn't he? Because you're trying to focus on winning the league, and you want all your energies and all the stories to be about that.
I don't even think, if I'm being honest, I don't even think Arteta looked at this story twice. He's cracking on and getting the team ready for Friday, which, by the way, is going to be a huge game.
Massive game.
And by the way, still no sign of Saliba. He won't be coming back, and that is a worry. That is a bit of a worry. We could do with Saliba coming back into the team, but
talking to Mikel Arteta, there is something I wanted to run by you. Again, it might have been something that you'd heard before, but nevertheless, I'd be interested to hear what you got to say about it. Now, there was a story I came across. It's emanating from Carl Robinson, who manages Oxford, and he was talking about when they played Arsenal in the FA Cup earlier in the season. We beat them. He said he fell out with Mikel Arteta and the Arsenal staff over their touchline antics. Something that, let's be honest, Mikel Arteta has been called out for before by a few people, pundits and other managers. Basically what this guy's saying, Carl Robinson, manager of Oxford, is saying that he actually doesn't really care too much for Mikel Arteta, so much so that he'd rather City win the league because he thinks that Pep conducts himself in a far more classy way, and that Mikel Arteta on the touchline, him and his staff get into name calling, they try to intimidate the third official, and they're basically not very nice people. What's your thoughts on that?
Who cares? The Carl Robinson, and I'm gonna say something right now. My son was at MK Dons here, and what it is, they
shout out to Caleb,
right? And what they do is for the youth players, they give you tickets to go along and watch games when you're in the academy. Yeah. So I remember they gave some tickets to like all the players to go along, and they said, you have to get an adult to accompany you, right? So me and him went to watch the game.
Yeah.
So it was, at the time, MK Dons were playing Charlton, who at that time, Carl Robinson, who actually used to be the manager of MK Dons, he was managing Charlton.
Right.
And it was him and Lee Boyer. You remember Lee Boyer, who used to play for Leeds, and I think he's still manager at Charlton, isn't he? Lee Boyer?
Yeah, I know.
Right?
He used to play for Charlton as well.
And me and my son were sat right by the dugout, because basically we could, in that area, you could go and sit where you wanted, and
so you were up close and personal.
Up close and personal, and I can tell you, I find it, when I saw this story, I find it unbelievable that he's moaning about Arteta having a go at him. The language that came out of that guy's mouth, him and Boyer,
X-rated, was it?
Was X-rated to say the least. I was like, I'm going to have to move my son from here because this is ridiculous, right? At that time, my son was he'd be about 10. The language, and I'm telling you, the way they abuse the fourth official is the first time sort of really, because you're at games, right? You're at an Arsenal game, even if you were near there, you wouldn't hear it all, because it's so loud. But because it wasn't loud there, because, there's probably about 7,000-8,000 people there, and where the dugout was, you could hear everything. And every challenge, every 50-50, every throw that went, every throw in, they absolutely went they question everything. I remember thinking to myself, I would never do that job, fourth official. Everything, they're just like, well, look what's going on there, and effing and blinding and effing it. So just off of that, when I saw that story, I was going, probably, because he's obviously him and Boyer at that time, obviously they were really spiky, right? Obviously that's how probably he is. It could be quite easy how he fell out with Arteta. What part did he play in that? Because nobody else has ever said that about Arteta, have they?
Yeah.
What part did he play in that?
Well, he did admit that he can be spiky himself.
Oh my God! I'm saying to you, I've witnessed it. It was him and Lee Boyer, and I'm telling you, that was sort of like
he's a Scouser, isn't he?
He's a Scouser, yeah, he's a Scouser.
Scouse passion was on
and
display.
he was effing and blinding, and I'm not. When I say effing and blinding, at the fourth official. Oh, you don't know to do your effing job. Didn't you see that as that throw-in? Even one time he said to he was going to the fourth official about a throw-in. Right on the other side of the pitch, that happened. That the referee is then, and the line on the other end of the pitch is giving that the other way, and he's going to the FE. He's going to the fourth official. You don't have to do your job, and I'm thinking, what can he do, the fourth official, about this? The assistant referee on the other side of the pitch giving a throw in the other way, and it's been backed up by the referee. What's that got to do with the fourth official? Honestly, I have
noticed though in recent times, over the last couple of years, I would say, it seems like it's getting a lot more heated on touchlines.
Yeah. Listen, we see Arteta,
and it's a passionate.
He's very
game.
animated, isn't he? We know that.
And I'm looking at this incident. It would have happened in January if it was the FA Cup when we.
Yeah, I was at that game.
But what I would say though, and tell me if you agree with me, I think Mikel Arteta, who did attract a lot of criticism, we all saw the stuff what happened last year with him and Klopp at Liverpool. I think he's calmed down a little bit in recent months.
He has. I don't want him to calm down.
Maybe he's taken some of that criticism on board.
Maybe he has, but I don't want him to calm down. And I love the fact that he's animated. And remember, again, let's just go back, right, to some of our fans used to moan about Arsene Wenger. You don't, not too passive.
Enough, yeah.
He just always sat down, get off your bench, you're there doing your zipper up. Now we've got a passionate manager. I love the fact that he's really into the game. He's up and down that touch line. All right, sometimes he comes out of his box. Well, who's this guy? Carl Robinson, Richard Keys.
Well,
you know what I mean? Chill out,
sounds
man.
Like
relax. And you as a Liverpool, I think he's a Liverpool fan, that Carl Robinson. You want Man City to win now, just because, just because Mikel Arteta put you in your box. Shut up, man.
So from what you're saying, you're not really bothered about it.
Who cares? Who cares? I'm sure.
I think most fans would agree.
I'm sure, no diss. I'm not dissing him just because he's the manager of Oxford. You know what I mean? He's a good manager in his own right. But come on, you think Mikel Arteta cares that Carl Robinson?
No,
he's having a go at him. He really doesn't.
Do you care?
And I really don't care.
You don't care.
I do not care.
Okay.
And as I said, all I'm saying is that guy's a bit of a hypocrite, because I was on the touchline and I've witnessed him for myself. And that guy...
And he was no shrinking violet.
He was absolutely no shrinking violet. And did he apologise to that fourth official for the amount of grief he gave him? I don't think so.
Right, we've got a super chat here from Rizwan Khan. He says, Robbie, Laurie, when we win this Premier League,
like that.
I have a request on behalf of Arsenal fans worldwide. Please cook, roast, boil Matisse, Abbey, X and KG.
Well, I'd love to do that. And you see those guys, right, are just lining up their whole... That's what I said to them last week. Your whole life at the moment, your whole footballing life centres around Arsenal and Arsenal failing, right? You know what I mean? And that just goes to show you, right? And I said it the other day, Daddy Ernie was another one on me, Daddy Ernie. I used the same thing with him. And I said, listen, that's how I know that Arsenal are back. Because a couple of seasons ago, you didn't care about us. You wouldn't even be, we'd be done out here by now, you know what I mean? So the fact that all of them are willing us, all those names you mentioned there of the different clubs they support in Tottenham, Man United, Chelsea, that they're all willing us to fail, shows you that we are back. When that old saying, when they said no one's talking about you, you know what I mean, nothing's carrying on for you. Well, we are carrying on good. Big up to Tom Nell with a super chat. He says, we've got this, lads. Let's stay positive. If we do miss out on the title, what a season it's still been. Let's be excited for the future. It would still have been a great season. However, I want to win it.
Oh, of course.
And Tom Nell, he goes on to say, miss out or win the league. We go again, bigger and better. What we've achieved is incredible, and our squad is much more exciting than any other. And again, this was another point I was making to those Chelsea fans, to those Tottenham fans. I was going, if we miss out, who has a better chance to still come again next season? We do, because we're building something, whereas Chelsea and Tottenham are in the decline. You can see that. Tottenham have had their golden years, and they won nothing. To tell us, a Tottenham person telling me about bottling it, when they have not won anything, not an FA Cup, a League Cup, a tin pot cup, they ain't won nothing. The cheek to tell, come on.
It's an interesting phenomenon though, because you remember a few years ago when Leicester won it, a lot of the neutrals actively wanted Leicester to win. I get the impression with us, there's a lot of neutrals out there that even despite the good football that we're playing and the classy way we've gone about things, a lot of fans want Arsenal to slip up and fail just so they can subscribe to that narrative about bottling.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But you know what? I've met a lot of fans. Like when I was at Liverpool the other day, I'd say most of the Liverpool fans I met after the game, they're like, hey lad, go and win it.
Is that because they don't want the Manx to
Because they don't want Man City to win it. They hate City, right? Yeah. And then I've met, like, after the West Ham game, despite them couple ones that were having a go at Ty, right? But the majority of West Ham fans were like, you know what, I wouldn't mind you lot winning. And then I've met just a lot of fans in general of various different clubs. Everton, when we played them, they're like, rather you lot win it. You've done it in the right way. Even I've met a couple of Tottenham fans and Chelsea fans that go, you know what, to be fair, if you lot won it, I would prefer that than City, because you're a proper club. The way you're doing it in the right way, right? Because let's be real, they've still got that big cloud hanging over Man City. I know none of it's come out yet and none of it's done yet or whatever, but that is still a cloud hanging over them. That's still an active investigation that's hanging over them. And the accusations, and none of it is proven, but the accusations is basically you've cheated your way into the position that you are.
A lot of people,
so that's why
people refer to it as financial doping.
So that's why you have got a lot of fans that are like, I'd rather Arsenal win it. But Tottenham fans, the majority of them don't, nor the Man United, nor Chelsea, especially Chelsea at the moment, especially after last night, and they're completely in the mud now. They know their season's over. They don't want us to have, you know, it's like crabs in a barrel, isn't it?
Yeah.
They want to bring us.
I must say that
Chelsea fans and Tottenham fans want to bring us back down into that barrel like that. They're trying to drag us back down into that barrel. We ain't in that barrel, man. You lot stay in that barrel on your own.
When I'm out, supermarkets or in the gyms and that, people will come up to me from time to time. Not as much as attention as what you get, obviously, Robbie, but people will come up to me and I get a few people winding me up saying, oh, you're going to bottle it.
You're right. Yeah, they got that.
So, you know what I mean? It's one of them whereby, you know, there are lots of people who...
I'd love to win it just to stick it on them, man. Ricky Proctor with a super chat says, Robbie and Laurie, honest question, can we realistically get anything from the City game if Saliba isn't fit? I fear a drubbing without Saliba or any of the first 11 being absent. Of course we can get something from the game. I really do believe we can get something from the game. And as I said, even without Saliba, I believe we can get something from that game. Obviously, it'd be a big miss, but without Saliba, yes, we can.
We all saw the pictures of Saliba on the bike in the gym, and a very enthusiastic El Neni next to him. He seemed to be suggesting that he might be soon to return.
Listen, El Neni?
Well, he might be back before Saliba. But listen, man, I don't know how the manager will play. Obviously, he will see these guys in training every day, and he will make an assessment accordingly. But do you even bring back Saliba for a game like that, knowing
he's got to be fully fit?
He's not going to be 100% fit.
I heard Turkish saying last night that he'd bring him back even if he was like 70% fit. I disagree. You're playing against Man City. You've got to be fully. You have to be 100% fit, or it's taking too much of it, or at least 95%.
And not only that, it's quite a sensitive injury, a back injury.
Yeah.
I mean, he overstretches and then he pulls
you can make it worse.
Yeah, he could be out for the start of next season as well.
Yeah,
so.
Monkey Slayer says, do you guys worry about potentially being the next Liverpool where you perform so well for multiple seasons but don't win as much because of Man City? Possibility. Man City are an unbelievable machine right now.
Yeah.
Who've improved their team so much by bringing in Haaland. Reggie Perry says we bottled the Champions League and now we're competing for the league. What happens if we bottle the title? Well, we didn't bottle the Champions League. We got knocked out of the Europa League.
You're talking about the Europa League.
Must be on about the Europa League, and we didn't bottle that.
See, this is what I'm saying.
This word
that.
bottle.
See, this is what I'm saying about the term bottling it being the most overused in the football lexicon. How did we bottle it in the Europa League?
We went out on penalties.
So this guy's definition is that we bottled it because we didn't beat a team that people expect you to.
We went out on
so
penalties.
If that's the case, then City have bottled it on a number of occasions as well. Then.
Exactly. Rizwan Khan says, I'm from Canada and I swear I'd have put out an Amber Alert to find a Chelsea or Spurs fan. Arsenal is massive. There's nowhere to hide when we win. And Canadian Gooner 1995, big up of the Canadians in the building. I'm not anti-Rob Holding, but I feel City is too much for him. What do you think of White at centre-back and Saka at right wing-back with Trossard playing on the wing? No. You know what? I'm not even going to say nothing on this. Me and James done a video today on the Rob Holding and all these different changes and possibilities that we could do instead of playing him. Please watch that. I think it'll be out tomorrow. Make sure you watch that one, Canadian Gooner 1995. Holding for me.
You don't want to give us a spoiler alert?
No, I'm not going to give a spoiler alert. And Amadou says, brain twister for you guys before you go. Would you rather United won the league or Spurs won the League Cup? Spurs win the League Cup. And that's because I think the League Cup is a bit of a tin pot cup. I ain't going to lie, right? To me...
I'm quite happy with the fact that Spurs ain't winning nothing. So let's just keep it straight.
Yeah.
Like
But
that.
to me, even if Arsenal win the League Cup, listen, it's great. It's a day out. It's fantastic. But if the season finishes and we dropped out of the top four and we won the League Cup, I wouldn't class that as a good season.
Yeah,
I wouldn't class that as a good season. It's not a big trophy to me. It's like you can win. Manchester United won the League Cup this year by playing all their games at home. Against teams like Burnley, right? And then they played Newcastle, only decent team they played. They then played Forest. Put it this way, every single team they played at home, you'd expect United to win. And then they played Newcastle, first difficult game in the final, and they won that game. And fair play to them, they won the trophy, and it's a trophy in the cabinet, and it's always good to win trophies. But
it's also a good day out for the fans.
And it's a great day out for the fans, but the League Cup is not a big trophy.
No, it's not a priority.
A big trophy. If it's such a big trophy, then teams would go strong throughout it, and they don't. It's not a big trophy.
Although you saw the palpable joy that United exuded when they won.
And I understood that as well, because Manchester United have been in the doldrums for a very long time, and it was sort of a turning point moment for Eric Ten Hag because he's won a trophy for them, was not won a trophy for a few years. He's come in, he's won a trophy. Sort of like, for Man United fans, if you speak to him, it's kind of like, yeah, he's got us going again.
Yeah.
I don't think United fans are looking at it and thinking, oh, this is a mega trophy we've won. So...
No, it's definitely the former. They were looking at that like, he's
got us going again. You know what I mean? If next season comes and all he wins is the League Cup, I don't think they're going to accept that.
Yeah. When they won the League Cup this year, they're looking at it like a catalyst for something big.
Yeah. If Man United win the League Cup and they get into the top four, it's been a good season. You know what I mean? Because, they're starting to turn things around.
Absolutely. Got a super chat here from Fan Reactions FC. He said, if we had drawn these two games in the middle of the season and won the last two ones, the narrative would be that we are on a run, not bottling the season.
That is very true, but I guess you can say that, we're reaching that stage of the season where we're being chased by Man City. They've been winning all their games. We really couldn't afford to lose those games. We can't really look on it and say, if we'd have done that mid-season, because it's not mid-season. It was, especially the last one, it was 2 points dropped. We got to admit that.
Absolutely.
We got to own it. We got to face it. But it weren't bottling it. But it was too. We threw that game away. We effed it up.
And I would go as far as to say as well that there is pressure there. That's unmistakable. But, that comes with the territory.
Yep. I'm going to do the last super chat here because I know we're running over time. The African Skyfight Scholar says, the example that comes to mind is when Brendan Rodgers got second place at Liverpool. He was the hottest manager in the world. He should have left.
Well, this is a good point. And it's something that I touched on
But
previously.
he was in a big job. He was at Liverpool.
was, yeah.
So why would he want it to leave?
But I
at
don't
that
think any Arsenal fan would really sit there and argue that Arsenal is a bigger club than Real Madrid.
It's
Real
not a
Madrid
bigger-
is
yeah.
widely acknowledged
Yeah,
as
yeah.
the biggest club in the world, which
time?
is why
it is the number one club in the world.
yeah, which is why I said that if
Yeah.
they
But
did
Mikel,
reach out to Mikel, would he
Mikel,
dismiss it out of hand, or would he say, actually, let me hear what they got to say?
Mikel, stay at Arsenal and make them the number 2 club in the world and get us the number 1. That's what we want you to do.
So I think that's fairly conclusive. The questions we asked today, Real Madrid want Arteta, but would he go? I think we firmly agree that
No,
he's not,
it's not
going,
going nowhere.
anywhere. And then the second one, the subsidiary question, was about Arsenal bottling it. We both agree that it's
No.
nowhere near bottling it. What I would say, though, is
Gotta win
Friday
Friday.
can't come soon enough.
Have to win Friday.
We need a
though.
win, and I reckon if we get a win and win well, which I think it's definitely within our abilities to do, then everything's back on track again.
Everything's back on track and then we roll into City. But let's get the job done.
Let's get the job
at
done.
Southampton first.
But Robbie, man, listen, always a pleasure. I know me and you don't always agree on everything, but on these 2 points today, we did agree. But nevertheless, I found it really interesting in talking to you about it. Thanks, everybody, for your comments, your super chats. Thanks for everybody supporting the channel over the years. Keep on doing it. Like, share, subscribe. Keep on supporting. Keep watching. We're out. We'll see you soon.